If I were operating from a place of completion and wholeness and joy, I could have retired faster, I could have retired richer, and I could have retired earlier.
So I want to talk about a lot of people, a lot of entrepreneurs have that dream of retiring at X year. I plan to retire. Well, I want to retire at 40, semi-retire because I just cannot just
No,
keep on.
sitting still is boring. Found that out.
Yeah. So I plan to write 100 books hopefully before I die, and that's gonna keep me busy. And I want to know.
Stay.
I want to know, like, what was the point in your life when you decided, I'm going to retire at 37. I'm going to step down as CEO and, this person's going to take over.
I was 32 when I started to feel the beginnings of burnout, and I knew I needed to do something about it. And I wasn't sure, do I sell the company? Do I just, go get a job and close the company? Like, do I sell off parts? Like, do I just sell off the client base? What do I do? It took me a little bit of time. I was also going through a divorce in 2014. That was not very fun. Right at the same time. And I was like, well, I'm just going to look for and just explore my options. I had the company valued. I did all the things to start building an exit strategy and just shopping for exit strategies. And I found a really great middle ground solution that, of course, business brokers, because they couldn't make a commission on me, were advising me against, which is I wanted to bring on a 49% partner where I would retain my CEO title. I still am the CEO of the company. Granted, I work maybe 5 minutes a week when I'm busy retired because she just needs to run a quick question by me. But I can handle 5 minutes a week. I still call that retirement. Is that okay?
Yep, that's perfect.
I should write a book, The 5 Minute Work Week. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to find someone that could come on and, really just kind of replace me in that capacity. And I thought I found my person, didn't work out for a couple of years. And then I just found like the woman of my dreams. She, I just put it out there in the universe. I need a woman just like me, but tougher, someone that's not going to get beaten down by the stress of the job, and someone that can actually stand up and this and that. And, I think one of the things that always stressed me out over the years is I am a very nice person, which has made it so my boundaries were not probably as firm as they maybe should have been. And that stressed me out. Julia, my COO, does not suffer from this problem at all, which is great. Also terrifying. I loved her right away. Also was a little scared, but I was like, yeah, she's the one. So we started talking and we eventually put this deal together. And it, the intention was for me to gradually phase out over 5 years, but she was taking over and I was getting more and more tired, probably a lot more faster than I realized that I was getting tired. My ability to be nice was dissipating a lot faster than I had planned. I was alienating some people. I had some people quit because I was being so dreadful. Not proud of these things, but I think it's important that we see the ugly side of leadership, so it's okay to talk about. I looked at her one day. I was in her office and she's like, you're being a real bitch. I'm like, I know. I don't like me very much. She goes, well, that's good. Nobody else does either. I'm like, cool. Well, at least that's unanimous. And I was like, Julia, I'm done. Like, I was done when I met you. Like, I'm done. Like, I can't do this anymore. I desperately need you to fire me as soon as possible. This was not like, this is going to be much faster than 5 years. It's going to be more like 2, with like the last year of me working maybe 5 hours a week. Like, I'm done. I'm so burnt out and I'm bitter. You really don't want me around. She's like, you're right. I don't. Let's get you out of here before you burn the company down. Okay. And I'm like, yes, please. Bye-bye. And that's the thing. When you're tired and you're constantly doing things the wrong way, you're an overachiever and you achieve for the wrong damn reasons. This is what happens. And here's the thing. I will say this in full transparency. If I were operating from a place of completion and wholeness and joy, I could have retired faster, I could have retired richer, and I could have retired earlier.
Wow.
That is not a regret, but it is something that I take with me into my second company. And it is something that I take with me into my arrangements with my coaching clients. It's like, okay, now that I know about all these things, let's work on building you, the human, first. So then we can build your exit strategy and we can help you execute it really fast while gluing your marriage back together and making sure your kids don't hate you. How about that?
That sounds fantastic.
I mean, leaders often sacrifice their family lives.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you're not a CEO that happens to have a family. No, 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 no.
Yeah.
You're a family person. You're a mother or father that happens to be a CEO. And it has to be that way first, is you have to be the individual and the human first. And that is one of the things that a lot of leaders, a lot of executives get wrong,
That is so
myself
true.
included. Mhm.
So true. And I'm wondering, like, when you decided to when you took your journey of stepping down and getting fired from your own company
Never enjoyed
voluntarily.
being fired quite so much.
How big was the team? How big was the company when you did that? And were there any kind of cold feet feelings when you were doing it?
Oh yeah. I mean, I would say we had a really good client load. At that point, we had probably about good like 50 active, consistent clients. And I was really, really happy with that. But some of them were not very happy with me. And I actually remember, and this was kind of funny, we were worried that some of the clients would be like, oh, well, you know, we don't want to work with Julia. We want to work with you. And there was some of that. So when I left, there was attrition, and that's okay. But we built that into the plan. But I wasn't counting on people being relieved at me leaving. Like, oh, good, she's gone. Bye. I was like, wow, leaving a hell of a legacy. And then when I came back, I was like, yeah, so sorry. I've worked on me though. I'm not that way anymore. And you know what? Being super like just vulnerable, transparent, and just being like, look, I was burnt out and I didn't even like me. And I just really, really needed these last couple of years to be able to do this for her and be able to step back in. And I've had the clients, team members even tell me, you're doing such a good job. We love working with you now. You sure you don't want to stick around? Yes, positive. Yes, bye-bye. It definitely feels better. And a lot of them have been like really kind and they're just like, you know what? It's okay. We know you were burnt out. You know, Julia's done a really wonderful job in your absence. And we could definitely tell it was time for you to go. And I'm like, well,
Wow,
guess it wasn't really a well-kept secret. Okay.
it's amazing. Because the reason I asked that question is you have to have a certain scale for you to be able to turn over the reins and be able to step down and know that things are going to be okay. Just like what you said, you
Yes.
had it planned out, that there's going to be attrition and churn, and that's fine. And so now I wanna ask one very important question that also a lot of entrepreneurs who have a retirement plan, at the horizon is how did you find Julia? How did you know that she is the right person to replace me as CEO? What was the process like?
Honestly, I placed a lot of ads, but the people that know you best will lead you to the people you need. And I firmly believe that. It was actually a woman that used to run my company that knew me really, really well. And she saw me through some of my darker times. And I saw her through some dark times. And we're still really tight friends now. You know, I just told her, I was like, yeah, I got to go. I got to go. But I don't want to let go of the money. I just don't want to do this anymore because it's just really killing me. And I don't even think I'm doing a good job anymore. Do you know anybody? She's like, no, but I'll let you know. And eventually she managed to introduce me to this woman. She's like, I'm not really sure that she's your person, but you guys should definitely hang out. She's the only person that terrified me as much as you. Oh, thank you. Thank you. And then I met her. I was like, yeah, wow. If that's how I come across, oh my God, I'm scared. Okay. But turns out Julia was coming out of a very toxic employment situation that made her a little grumpy. I was just coming out of my own toxic situation that I built. I basically built my own prison, right? And Julia needed somebody to be with that appreciated her, valued her, gave her lots of freedom and lots of trust. And I'm a very trusting person. I'm a very clear person. Like, I'm going to show you how to do it. and then I'm going to watch you do it. And then when I know you do it right, I'm not going to micromanage. Get me the reports I ask for on time. I will never bother you.
Yeah.
And Julia and I are very much, I guess, twins in that regard. I just think that things happen in the times that they should. And when you put it out there to the people that know you really well, what you're looking for, I think it will come to you. And some people are just looking for straight up buyout because they want to be completely done. Other people might be looking for, a partner, a legacy partner like I was. Somebody else might be looking to, sell to a larger enterprise and just get absorbed. There's a lot of different options. And, there's a million people out there that can help you do it. But what I would say is if you don't have your plan actually formulated, start talking to somebody that knows about exit strategies, about how to build one and what options exist. Then talk to somebody else about it and ask them, what did that first guy not tell me? Because the first guy will not tell you everything.
Good advice right there. Basically, what you're telling me is how you found that person is through referral, and it's the best way to do it. So the ads kind of gave you.
How you get your best clients too, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. So what I was wondering, what did the ads bring you? Did they bring you any applicants?
Yeah, of course. I just didn't love any of them. I liked them, but I don't know. When it comes to major acquisitions, changes, new things in my life, I gotta love it. Like love it to the point where I can't stop thinking about it, or I don't want it. Like it was like that for me when I moved to Maui with my husband. It was like that for me when I met him. I didn't want to like him. I liked him, and I couldn't stop thinking about him. I'm like, oh damn it. Okay, he's the one, and he is. So I guess a lot of it is you have to know yourself and trust yourself and really understand the way you make the decisions that you tend to feel best about. For me, if it's something I can't stop thinking about, if it's a person I can't stop thinking about, or something just feels right in my head, my heart, and my wallet, that I gotta move.
What was the transition like when you were just giving the authority, the influence, and teaching the processes to your partner Julia? What was it like? And was it did it take 2 years, 3 years? Tell me about it.
Well, in the beginning, she's the type of person that she believes in watch one, do one, teach one. And I believe that too, just never really knew of it that way until I met her. So for the first 6 months, she just watched and she observed and she just helped and did little things and just did what she was told. And then she's like, I'm just here to learn. I'm not here to change a thing. Okay. And then I started giving her things. And I'm like, you know what? Why don't you handle this one? I think you'll do a good job. Cool. And then, just started taking over and doing more and more and more. But, I think larger to your point, you're talking really about delegation and letting go. And at the end of the day, you really need to surrender to how things are going to be different from how you would probably do it. Different doesn't mean bad.
That's good. You have given us so much insight today, given us so much advice, and I'm learning definitely. And I do hope that you guys who are tuning in have learned a lot from this one. I just want to wrap this up right now and ask you, who are some of the people you follow? Who inspires you? Where do you learn from? Who do you learn from?
That's a great question. Depends on the subject, really. Um, I think when it comes to mastery of self, I have studied from a lot of different teachers. I really enjoyed the book, The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. I always loved a lot of the stuff from Tony Robbins. I actually really enjoyed Jen Sincero's books. The challenge that I face is that a lot of the information in most of the books being published these days is nothing really novel or useful to me because I already know it. For example, like Rachel Hollis's books, I love her writing style, but when I pick up her books, I'm like, yep, yep. It's more of like a confirmation than it is like getting any sort of like new stuff, which is kind of a disappointment for me. So I would say more of the things that I'm learning now are about really specific things. to do with like funnel building and sales stuff, which I've always loved. Sandler training, huge fan, and like really specific niche topics like supernatural stuff, diet, nutrition, and things like that. And the authors really vary. It depends on the subject.
And you need all of that to become a whole person, right? To have to be able to live a whole life. And what is your advice to people who right now during the pandemic, they're suffering, they're in crisis, they're having a hard time, their happiness just miles and miles away, like they're at the end of their rope. What is your advice to them?
Honestly, take a good long hard look at why you're at the end of your rope. It might not be the pandemic. The pandemic could simply be shining an unrelenting spotlight on the thing you've been avoiding looking at for a very long time. And for a lot of people is your marriage is in deep, deep trouble. Maybe you need to either fix it or end it. And while you're going to work every day, you can ignore the fact that your marriage is on fire and you can neglect it. But when you're with your spouse 24 hours a day, you can't do that. Or maybe your kids can't stand you. And now that you're with them all the time, but you're still having to work, you can feel the resentment building greater. Maybe you need to look at that. Or maybe you discover that you hate your job and you need to start a business. Or your people can't stand working for you and they're always like lying about how much they are, producing on a regular basis. If that's the case, they hate working for you. Why do they hate working for you? Maybe you should look at that. Or maybe if you're just burnt out and you're just done, look at that. Or, maybe your heart is just broken and you're like feeling like, why didn't I travel? And why didn't I move when I had the chance? And blah, blah, blah. This is such an opportunity for us to just wake up and like look at everything that this is